everyone. Welcome to episode 19 of the Stop, Drop, and Knit podcast. My name is Lisa. I am coming to you from Long Island, New York. It is April. It is spring. The weather is finally starting to warm up just enough where it is really comfortable to sit outside for a little bit during the day, which makes me really happy because I've been sitting out during my lunch breaks from teaching. I've been getting out of the basement. I've been sitting outside and doing some spinning, which has been so relaxing and such a nice break. Yeah, I have so many things to talk to you guys about today. Today's Wednesday, April 6th. So it has been, is it the 6th or is it the 7th? 7th, I guess. I guess it's April 7th. You guys won't see this for a few days, but I had to record a little earlier in the week today because my usual recording day is super busy. I have some extra teaching to do this week. So I'm squeezing and recording a little bit early. But since I skipped recording last weekend for Easter, I have so much to catch you guys up on. A couple things I can't show because they're test knits, but I brought a lot of other things to show you. So I am excited to get into it and get going. And yeah, I'm really happy that you're here. Just really quick before we start, if you've been enjoying my podcasts and would like to see more from me, please remember to hit that subscribe button. It does mean so much to me, everybody who subscribes to my channel and likes my videos. And of course, leave me a comment because that is the most fun thing. It's so rewarding to respond to all of you guys in the comments and to be getting to know some of you really well through the comments a little bit and through Instagram. This little community that I am building here has been a real bright spot in the pandemic this year. So yeah, so I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who is here and watching. Okay, so let's just get into it. What am I wearing today? Okay, so it is spring and I thought it is the perfect time to pull out something that you guys have not seen before, but this has been finished for a while. This is my Tegna sweater and this is a pattern by Caitlin Hunter of Boyland Knitworks. And I love this little summer top so much. I guess it's more of a spring top because it does get a little bit warm to wear in the summer. Yeah, so let me tell you about it. Okay, I'm gonna stand up because obviously the most fun thing about this pattern is the lace detail at the bottom. So I love the way that this yarn shows off the pattern so well. And I really love the shape that I get when this is sitting on me. So there's a real good close-up of all the lace. And now I'm gonna tell you about the yarn. So if you guys remember my Soldotna crop, I bought yarn for both that and this at the same time. And I purchased from Shanna from Lambstrings yarn. And this was before the pandemic. This was maybe May 2019, I think, because we were definitely in person and there was a little fiber festival out on the East End, not all the way on the East End, but out east on Long Island. And Shanna was there vending. And so she helped me pick out some colors for both the Soldotna crop and this top. And so this one, I have a hair on me. I have hair all the time, everywhere. But okay, so this yarn is her Sadie singles base. And this color I picked out in person. It is called Petunia. And I just thought that this color for a spring top was so amazingly beautiful. I loved all the speckles. It's a very blush pink tonal yarn. So you can see it's like a very light pink. I'll tell you why there's a couple different shades of pink on the sleeves in a minute. I ran out of yarn because I only bought 2. I was thinking that I was going to have enough with 2 skeins. And then I got to about here and I ran out of yarn. So my collar, my neckband, and like the shoulder and sleeves, you can see are like a slightly different shade. And that's because it's hand-dyed yarn, and you know, I was alternating skeins, but then when I ran out, I just was using a single skein. So, but it doesn't bother me at all. I actually really love it, and I think it's really pretty. So mostly it is a uniform color. I think you guys can see. And then it's just like a little bit darker on the shoulders and the sleeves and the neckband. And it totally doesn't bother me at all. This is one of my favorite tops. I wear it not really so much in the summer because it does get really warm on Long Island in the summer, but I wear it as soon as the weather is nice enough for short sleeves in the spring, and I will wear it at the end of summer before we get into that fall too, before I feel like digging out all the warmer fall colors. But yeah, so this is Petunia, and it's so beautiful. And so I have this much left because I did have to order 1 more skein. So this required 2 and a bit, maybe 2 1/3 skeins, I think. So I'm not really sure how much yardage I have left in here. I think her singles are 400 yards. So I'm sure that I have at least 200 here. So maybe it was 2.5 skeins. Not really sure. But so this will go into some kind of project eventually. I'm not really sure what. It's a singles, so it's not gonna be something that I make socks out of. But maybe if I need like a little bit of a yarn for a shawl or something, then hopefully this would be a really good amount to pair with something else. So that is what I am wearing today, and I will be living in this top. I don't have that many spring sweaters, so I've been planning a little bit for when my test knits are done. I have a few things that I'm going to be pretty anxious to cast on so that I have a few more options, because I only have this one, and I have my Marettimo, also by Kaylin Hunter, for spring, and I don't really have anything else. So I don't know. I don't have a lot of shawls or anything, so I really need to up my knitting game for spring, because I think it should be a represented season in my knitting wardrobe. There's a lot of like shawls and lighter wraps and things that I could be knitting, so I just need to put some winter knits aside and get a few summer things cast on pretty soon. So all right, let's move on. I do have a finished object for you guys today, so let's move on to that. Okay, so now that it is Easter time, I finally finished my Valentine's Day socks. So yeah, this took me a while. This was a Valentine's week cast on, and I have had 1 sock done probably for a month. And then I just didn't get around to finishing the other sock. I had like maybe that much of the cuff done, and then it just sat for a long time. And so I finally I put it in my line of sight, and I've been working on it slowly, like at the table when I'm like hanging out with Owen. He is like the world's slowest eater. He gets really distracted, and yeah, so it takes him forever. So usually while I am waiting for him to finally finish some food, I will work on some socks or something. And so I was finally able to get the second one done. This was a yarn from Knitterly Things, and this is her Valentine's Day, one of her Valentine's colorways from, I think 2020. I think it's called, I don't remember if it's Be Mine. But I don't know, it was from like her sock club in 2020, February. So I don't think that it is available anymore, but it is like so girly and so perfect for like the stereotypical colors of Valentine's Day. I love, so there is this like speckly one in the middle, which is like the regular color of the base speckled with all of the colors of these 4 stripes. So it's hard to kind of see this one, but there's a very light pink stripe right after the speckled section. And then there's a red and a beautiful purple and a hot pink. And of course, I hope that you guys can see that the sparkles, because there is stellina in these socks. And so, yeah, just the combination of all the happy Valentine girliness is amazing with the sparkle. I decided to actually make these socks matching. I don't usually do that with self-striping yarn, but I had finished the first one and I really just liked the way that the striping worked out with like the group of the stripes, 2 groups of the stripes on the cuff, and then another 2 on the foot with the heel with the speckled. So I didn't have to unwrap that much yarn to find the same spot, but I just really liked how the first one came out. And so I made them matching. And so now I can wear them because now I have showed them on the podcast. So this is what I have left. Owen has said he doesn't want leftover socks. Usually I make him socks with my leftovers, but I think that these are a little bit too pink for his taste. So I don't know. This will just go into my leftover stash, and I don't know. I'll do something with it at some point. So I went ahead and cast on a pair of Easter socks as soon as I finished these. So let's move on to whips. I found the label for the Valentine's Day socks, and it is called Sweetheart Remix. So this was part of her remix club where she takes an old colorway that she had done years ago and reimagines it into something new. So that's what this one was. So on the same lines of Julia's remix club, which she did have signups open again just a few days ago, like last week. So if you guys are interested, I don't know if there are spots left, but she did just open up signups for like the next quarter for her Sock Yarn of the Month club. So you guys might want to head over to knitterlythings.com and check out whether she's got any spots left or not, because I know that she had just announced that very recently. Yeah, so one of her 2 clubs is the Remix Club, and that is, as I just said, where she reimagines old colorways and brings something new to them. And so I cast on another pair of socks because I always, I'm really busy with my test knits right now, so that's been like the bulk of my knitting. But I do have to have a project that I can just pick up when I am finding myself in those moments where I have a little bit of free time, but can't completely dedicate all of my full attention to working on specific projects that have more complicated bits to them. So I always try to have a pair of socks on the needles. So when one pair is finished, another gets cast on. And so on Easter, or maybe it was Saturday, maybe it was the day before Easter, I cast on a pair of socks with this super bright and bold colored yarn. This is also Knitterly Things, and this is called Jellybean Remix. And I don't have the jelly beans right here, but I took a picture. Owen was eating some jelly beans on Easter morning, and I was working on these socks, and the colors were like spot on to his jelly beans. I couldn't believe it because I was like, really? Are jelly beans really this bright? Because I tend to think of like the Jelly Bellies where they're all speckly and everything. But no, like there really are jelly beans that are basically these colors. And so I had started it, my sock, and it's such an interesting mix of colors. Got just a tiny bit of pale pink at the top, but I'm now into the second repeat of the stripes. I am doing a pattern, and I think it is called, I'm gonna have to look up the exact name. I want to say it's like my Red Heart Vanilla Socks or something. I have knit this pattern several times though, and it is a favorite. I'm not really going to be able to see too much of it yet, but I'm going to hold it this way. So after you do it's like a knit 2 purl 2 ribbing, and then you split up the ribbing so that you do half of the ribbing, a quarter of it you continue down one side of your leg, and then the other quarter of the half of the ribbing you do down the other side, and then the front and the back of your leg are just in stockinette. So I love the fit of these socks so much. I've maybe knit like 3 or 4 pairs, and they're some of my best fitting socks. I know I said I was gonna start trying like different kinds of heels and things, but I get into a habit of just needing something really mindless in my socks, and so I just keep casting on patterns that I have done before. But once I finish these test knits, I am all about going into a whole bunch of things that are in my queue and on my wish list. I am ready to knit things purely because I want to knit them and not have deadlines and all of that business. I love doing my test knits, but they do take time, and I tend to stack them like back to back to back, and then I don't have time to ever cast on things just because. And so anyway, I'll get into my test knits in a little bit, but I needed something mindless that I wasn't going to have to think about, that I could just pick up, and so I went with a tried and true pattern. And so yeah, I'm going to insert the picture of the socks with the Jellybeans because it was just such a great match. And then it came with this plum mini, so I will be using this for heels and toes. And so yeah, kind of different colors, but I'm liking it. It's fun and it's cheerful, and yeah, so that is my current sock whip. I'm gonna go ahead and show you a couple of skeins of Knitterly Things yarn that I have received in the mail both last month for February and for March, because I forgot to show you guys her sock yarn of the month clubs when they came in. So let me dig those out. Okay, so one of the things that I enjoy the most about being in a club is that you tend to get sent things that you wouldn't necessarily pick out on your own. So yeah, these colors are super different from something that I would normally pick out, but they're always fantastic. So this first one is, again, Julia's Remix Club. This one is called Pine Forest Remix, and this was a February 2021 color. And so, I mean, you guys know, like, there's no pink in there, there's no purple in there, but these are really, really cool colors. And probably I might use these for socks, actually, for Bryce, maybe, because I don't have a lot in my wardrobe that these would probably match. Although I do have a brown sweater, and I never have socks that have brown in them. So maybe I do have to keep this for myself, because these would go really well with my brown sweater. What do you think, Bryce? Do you want these for you, or should I make them for me? You can let me know in the comments, because I know my husband watches every episode. He's like so supportive. He is like the first one to watch every time they come out. He's so great. So yeah, so Bryce, let me know. Do you want these for you, or should I have a pair of socks that I can match with my brown sweater? Let me know. So that is one that I got for February from her Remix Club. And then the other one, so I'm in 2 different clubs of Julia's. So there's her Remix Club, And then there is her, just her like regular sock yarn club. And so the February color is completely different for this other one. You guys are gonna laugh, so I'm gonna hold both of these up together. So this is what I got in the mail, like totally different from each other, right? So there's like this one that's like really earthy, and then there's this one, and it's like bubblegum. I mean, this is called Bubbletopia. So that's like a perfect description. So yeah, it's like a rainbow of like pastel, but like a neon kind of pastel colors. And of course this one is super sparkly. So again, like I don't know that I would have picked this out because it's really, really bright. Even for me, it is really bright. I tend to choose purples again when I pick my sock yarn. So, but I think that I will absolutely love this when it's knit up. And it looks like there's a little bit of gray in there too. I don't know. So yeah, so those were both a complete surprise for February. And then in March, I've got two, and these are really fantastic too. There's one that I am especially excited about, but I'm going to show you, I have an itch, sorry. So I'm going to show you this one first, and this one is her Remix Club from March 2021. So this just came last week, I think. And this one is called Into the Wildwood Remix. And this one is very spring, I think. So this one actually has brown in it too. So maybe Bryce can have the other ones, because I don't think Bryce is going to want this one. I don't think so. He's not a pink guy, but pink is fab. Bryce, you should wear pink. Pink is fabulous. Yeah, just saying. But I can't picture these on his feet somehow. So I'm not really sure how I feel about this mini paired with this yarn. I'm not really feeling the mini. So I'll probably just knit these up just without the mini and just a regular pair of self-striping socks. I'm going to have plenty of other things if I wanted to put something in for heels and toes. But yeah, that color, I don't know. It's a fine color. I just don't think that I love it with that yarn. I don't know. But then this next one I am so excited about. And this is her regular Vesper Sock Yarn Club. And this is her twisted sock yarn base. So the way that you can do her club too is you can choose what base you want to have your socks on. So if there is a particular base, like say you know that you want 75% wool, superwash wool, 25% nylon, or you want 80-20 blend, or you want glitter, you can choose that for yourself. Or she has a fun option where you can just do dyer's choice. And since I am always so indecisive, I do dyer's choice because I have so much of her yarn and I think it's nice to have a variety of bases. I don't really think I have a favorite base. So that's what I do. And so this is the base that I got for this one. Look at this. This one is so fun. I love the barber pole striping yarn. Oh, no, this isn't focusing so well. Let's see. Maybe I'm holding it a little too close. I don't know. There we go. Look at those fun colors though. I love the purples. I love the stripes. I love the mint green in there. And the yellow. I really like purple and yellow together a lot. So this one is really fun. And then there's like this bright green mini in with it. Again, I don't know if I will include this mini. I really like these colors a lot just on their own. But I have the option. So yeah. I didn't show this in the last episode for sure. But I have been even though I've been focusing on my test knits, I have to have my Zoom knitting. And so while I was working on getting my test knits, there's one of my test knits is now in a position to do Zoom knitting because I am now at a stockinette for inches portion of that test knit. But while I was waiting to get there with that one, I was still working on my garland pullover. That is a test knit for Stephanie Lotvin. And I just wanted to show you guys because I basically think I'm finished with the body. I think I'm at the point now where I can do the ribbing and get the body bound off. So I actually, I made a significant amount of progress on that since the last time I pulled it out. So I just thought that I would whip that out really quickly to show you. This has been a favorite test knit, but I had completed my portion of the requirement for what she needed from me was the yoke, 3 inches of the body, and 1 sleeve. So I have had that done, and then I've just been keeping this near me when I'm on Zoom as my my mindless knitting. And so yeah, so I've been doing that consistently. This is kind of pushed to the side again now because my test knit that I have to finish is now going to take my Zoom knitting place of this. But yeah, I think I am going to call the body done and go ahead and do the ribbing because I just measured it and now I have 10 inches. So I've got 10 inches of body. And so I think that it is at a good place to get the body bound off pretty soon. So it's probably like 2 inches of ribbing. So it'll be like 12 inches. So I think that's gonna be a really good length. So this is yarn, just to refresh your memory. The yarn is Barrett Wool Co. Wisconsin Woolen Spun fingering weight, and this is the color Oats. And then again, Knitterly Things was the contrasting colors were all minis that I pulled out from my stash. So this was a project that I did completely from stash because this Barrett Wool Co. yarn was left over from my Not Two a Day sweater, and I had enough to do this sweater. So yeah, I think all I'm gonna have left to do on that is a sleeve. So I can foresee me kind of whipping this into a finished object. Not within the next few weeks because I have a few required deadlines that I am working to get through. But after that, I'm not gonna sign up for more test knits for a while. I am going to get some things finished that have been on my needles for a while, including this one, so I can get this one ready to go. So I am just putting this back into its bag. I've been keeping this one in my Danica Studio bag that I showed you guys when I got it. This is called Meow, and I picked this up from Fiberspace. So that is what this project lives in. I am going to pull out something else that I talked about. Something else that I talked about around the same time was that I am doing some sample knitting for Tabitha of Long Island Yarn and Farm. This was originally supposed to be a project that I was trying to get done for her in time for Vogue Knitting Live in the middle of March. But we had a snafu with the pattern, and so we ended up just not pushing to make that deadline, and she told me to take my time with it. We wanted it to be right and everything. So let me tell you what happened. Okay, so this is a pattern called the Classic Hampton Wrap, and this is a pattern that Tabitha has in her shop. The way that it's by Lisa Hoffman. Lisa Hoffman is the author of that fairy knitting book, and so she does some patterns also for Tabitha at Long Island Yarn and Farm, and they have an agreement where she creates some patterns for them, and then people who purchase yarn from Tabitha can get access to those patterns, but they're not available to the general public. So if you're interested in this pattern, you can get it by purchasing yarn from Tabitha. So she has had this pattern specifically for her fingering weight yarn, and that pattern is in good shape. She had that sample knitted and it all worked out. And so what she was asking of me was, she had Lisa create a pattern for a couple of her different sport weight yarns. So her sport weight yarns, some of them are like the weight is a little bit different depending on the mix of fiber that goes into them. So there are two different versions of this pattern that I am sample knitting for her. And so the way that this all happened is that Tabitha wanted me to knit this in two different yarns for her. So she gave me a pink clove and she gave me a tiger's eye, which is a brown. And so what happened was she gave me 2 skeins of each. So according to Lisa Hoffman on the pattern, 2 skeins of Tabitha's yarn was supposed to be all that you needed. And so what happened when I was test knitting this, or sample knitting this for her, is that I didn't make it to the halfway point of the pattern quite before I used one of the 2 skeins of yarn. So at that point, at the halfway point of using up the yarn, and I wasn't quite halfway through the pattern, I knew I wasn't going to have enough yarn, enough yardage. So, okay. So at first I said, okay, well, maybe I'll go down a needle size, because the pattern was for, so this is my first version. And I think I showed you guys this before. So it's a basket weave design, and this is going to be a wrap. So this is 1 skein of her yarn made this much. And I was like an entire pattern repeat short of yardage for what was the halfway point of the pattern. So I had met gauge with this pattern. So this was the fabric that I produced with size 10.5 needles. And my gauge matched what she wrote the pattern for. So then what I decided to do was try going down to a size 10 needle and see if I could still meet gauge or if it was going to be too small. And I did meet gauge. So then I was like, all right, well, I grabbed the other skein of yarn and I said, all right, let me see if that helps, if that's going to make the difference. So this was the second one that I knit up, and I think that I like this fabric slightly better than the other one. I think my stitches look a little bit more consistent in this one than the other one. So my gauge was spot on with this. My measurements, I was like measuring the length to make sure that the width of it was spot on with the schematic, and it is. So like both versions work with both needle sizes. So I still ran out of yarn before I was halfway through the pattern. So this one's the size 10.5 and this one is the size 10. So I was at this point where I was like, okay, Tabitha, I don't have enough yarn to knit. There's 2 versions of the pattern. There's a small size and there's a large size. So I said, I still ran out of yarn before I reached the halfway point of the pattern. So clearly like something isn't adding up. There's not enough yardage. And so she was going to get back with Lisa Hoffman and figure it out. But she said, I was really skeptical that 2 skeins of yarn, 400 yards was going to be, so each skein is 200 yards. She said, I was really skeptical that it was going to be a 2 skein project from the get-go. Like she just said, she was like, really, Lisa? This is only going to take 2 skeins? So clearly it doesn't. It does take more. So we sat on it for a while, and I think what she has decided to do is just give me more yarn. I am going to complete the pattern for the larger size, so to make sure that 3 skeins is enough for both sizes of the pattern. And if it is, then it'll all be good. So this is a project that has been on hold for several weeks while she decided what she wanted to do. But I have the brown. She also wanted me to get started on it in the brown to see if I was going to run into the same issue. And I did. So, so clearly I am exactly on gauge. I will show you the brown looks like. So this is her tiger's eye yarn, which is so beautiful. It's like a couple different shades of brown and like almost black in there. It was so pretty. And so this is what this one is looking like knit up. So, and obviously it's not blocked yet. So when it gets blocked to the dimensions, it will not be so bunchy. But yeah, I mean, I am exactly on gauge again with the record. So this was a different, the border on this one was different to make up for the difference in, this is a little bit thinner yarn than her pink clove. So the pattern was written slightly different number of repeats and things to achieve the same final dimension of the wrap. So yeah, so this has been on hold, but I will be visiting Tabitha probably this weekend to pick up another skein of both the tiger's eye and the pink clove so that I can get these projects completed for her so that she has her samples. So I thought that I would tell you guys about my experience with that because I knew that I had mentioned it once before and then I didn't show you guys anything. So these are samples for Tabitha, which means they're going to go to her when they are finished so that she has completed objects to show off what her yarn knits up into. So this is not something I will be keeping. She just gifted me the yarn to do the project, so I don't get to keep it or anything. But yeah, so that's going to be something that I am going to be resuming working on very soon. I'm almost done with my test knits. So let's move on to those. Yeah, I also wanted to show you these because both of my test knits, which is what I have been doing, the bulk of my knitting time has been devoted to 2 sweaters that I am test knitting for Annie of Boho Chic Fiber Co. But she doesn't want me to show anything. So I'm going to show you inside out versions so that, because it's been like mostly what I've been working on is these 2 sweaters. So that's really what I'm excited to talk about. And I'm like, I can't, I'm not supposed to show you guys anything, but I really want to. But I need to respect Annie's wishes to keep it private until she's ready to release the patterns next week. So let me dig those out and show you what I can. I'm gonna have to flip them inside out a little bit. So the first test knit I am keeping in my Hide and Hammer bag in the color Berry. This is what I picked up from Brooklyn General. So the yarn that I am using, this one is called Playwright, and I am really enjoying this sweater so much. It's really interesting. I'm using Calborn Woolens Scout, which is a DK, and I think that this color is Mulberry. And then this one is a textured yarn, like a boucle. This is Woolfolk Flet, and this is what the color work is being knit from, which is so interesting. I know one of you commented that you've not seen anybody use like a textured yarn in a color work yoke pattern. I mean, I guess the closest that I can think of that is like, I know Andrea Mowry has done like, I think it was her pink velvet sweater, and like I'm pretty sure that the color work portion of that is in a mohair, I think. I mean, I haven't knit it, so maybe I'm wrong about that. But Yeah, but this is a bit of a different texture, but it's also a DK weight yarn. And so I was really excited to see how this was going to knit up. These are not the same colors that Annie chose, but they're the same two yarns that she chose for her design. So I am going to show you the inside out version, and I can show off all my floats. So I'm really proud of this. So yeah, so I have finished the yoke, and I love it so much. I wish I could show you the front side, but I just split for the sleeves. And so now this is the one that is now my Zoom knitting, because now I'm just going to be going around and around and around to finish the body until I have like 10 inches or something. And then there is the sleeves are like a little bit more, they're not fitted. They're a little bit poofy, a little bit roomy, like blousey. Maybe that's the word I'm looking for, is blousey. And then there is more color work on the cuff of the sleeves. So, oh my goodness, I wish, like I said in my Paradise Fibers video, that I wish you guys had like touch TV, but I wish that you guys can feel this. I'm gonna hold it up a little bit closer so you can see the texture. I don't know if I can get like a dimensional view for you guys. I think that's probably the best that I can do. But this is squishy. It's just working up like so squishy and so nice. I've never used either of these yarns, but I've never used Kelborn, and I'm really loving the texture of this yarn and how this is feeling as a fabric knit up. So I am just thoroughly enjoying this one. Obviously the mulberry color is right up my alley. It's exactly the color that I love. So yeah, I think that this is just going to be such a beautiful sweater, and I am really excited to show it to you guys when it's done. I really wish that I could show it now, but I think that, you know, this is pretty exciting to look at. My floats are on point. They are so good. My color work looks so nice. I'm just kind of bragging on myself a little bit here, because look at how even that all is. I'm super pleased. I'm super excited about this one. So that is Playwright, and I'm supposed to have this one done by April 16th, which is pretty soon. It's like a week from Friday, I think. So I hopefully will have this finished by the next time I podcast. And then the other one that I also can't show you, that I'm a little bit concerned. I'm not concerned about finishing this one. I think because I can work on this while I am on Zoom, I can be working on this to make progress during a time when I can't be like focused on my knitting, that I have to have my mind like on my teaching. So this is really easy. I feel like I can multitask a little bit. Yeah, I knit really well on Zoom. I teach, like my focus is so good on Zoom when I have something in my hands. I mean, it's good anyway, but I really like having something that I don't have to look down at. I don't have to think about. It's just stocking at for a time being. So yeah, so I'm going to get plenty of opportunity to work on the body of this and hopefully knock the body inches out by like this weekend, just by working on it while I'm doing other things. And then I can next week get to the sleeves. But all right. So yeah, so I'm not concerned about finishing this one. The other one though is taking some time. I'm a little bit worried because the other one, the deadline is like Tuesday. Today is Wednesday and it's like Tuesday. So the next one I have in my Franklin Habit prepared bag that I picked up a couple weeks ago from Fiber Space. Super cute bag. I love it. Got the sheep the yarn, the toilet paper, and the wine. All that's missing is coffee, really. Okay, so let me dig this out. So let me start with the yarn that I am using for this sweater. Part of the reason that it took me so long to get started on this, in addition to just getting through some other deadlines, was that I was so undecided on what colors I wanted to use, because there is one main color and 6 contrasting colors, and all of the contrasting colors are in like little bits where you are working with 3 colors at a time. So I knew that, you know, obviously they all needed to go together, but it was a lot of colors to try to think about picking out online when there's so many options. So I talked about this last time, but the way that I chose my colors, I ordered all my yarn from Wonderland Yarns, and they group in packages of like mini skeins. So I bought 2 of these, so I'm still in my first one. And I chose a pack that had, this one is called Rhyme and Reason. It's number 82. And this is her sport weight yarn. It's on her Mad Hatter base. And so I decided that my contrasting colors I was going to choose already grouped together so that I knew that they would all work together. So I only need 6. So the ones that I am not using are this. I'm not using the darker green, and I'm not using this one here. So I'm using the lighter teal, all 3 of these purples, the bright teal, and then this lighter green. And then I picked out a yarn to go with these colors. And so I found this one, which has, it's like a gray base, and then it has speckles of like all of those jewel tone colors in there. So that's how I chose my colors. I am loving how this is all working up. I'll show you this one. I am just finished my first skein of this, so I needed to pull this out. I need to wind this up this evening so that I can continue knitting my sweater. But yeah, oh, the speckles are so pretty. So, okay, this is a superwash yarn, and all right, so the reason that some of the sections are going so slowly, so it alternates between like short bands of color work, and I'm going to flip this inside out in a minute so that I can hold it up and you'll see. But then in between each band of color work is a twisted cable stitch section. So I know that you can do cables without a cable needle, but I chose a superwash yarn, and I can't do it without a cable needle. It's too slippery, and yeah, it's a lot of stitches, and yeah, I'm scared. I'm scared. I'll just say it. Too scared to try without a cable needle. So it's really slowing me down. I wondered, did I bring? Yes, I brought my cable needle. I wanted to show you guys these. I also got these from Fiberspace a couple months ago. I think these are called like floops or something. And that's so cool. There's like a cord and you can bend it. So like you can use this to like hold a stitch or as a stitch marker or something. But it's basically like a flexible cable needle. So yeah, so that's what I've been using. Love this. They come in packs of 2 per pack. So that was a new thing that I just tried. I think it's called floops. I'll put them in the I will put them in the down bar. Everything I talk about, you guys, will be in the description box below. I'll have links and everything like that. Yeah, so it is slowing me down to do these. It's like a 1x1 cable and then 1 stitch, and then a 1x1 cable and then 1 stitch. And not only is it slowing me down, but because I picked a yarn that is so variegated, you can't even see my texture very well at all. It still looks really cool. The good thing about this though is that when I make a mistake, you can't tell. So I've just been leaving my mistakes because I can't even find them. because the variegated colors and the speckles, it hides all of that texture, which is good and bad. So let me take a second and flip this inside out. I just kind of want to do like a really quick click. Do you guys see that? I'll do it one more time. It's like a little Easter egg. It's so awesome. So you really can't see like what her design is from what I just did. I'm not worried about that. You're not going to be able to see the cable section. Maybe I'll hold it up a little bit. So last time I had just barely cast this on, and now I am at the point, so this is a bottom up knit in the round design. And then I am just about to finish the last color work section before splitting for the front and back and the sleeves. So I think I'm like, I mean, I used one of my 3 main color skeins, so I think I'm like a third of the way through this, but I have so much knitting to still do. So this is upside down. Actually, let me hold it right side up so you guys can see. So look at how awesome these colors are all working together though. I know you can't really tell really what the sweater is gonna look like, but it's actually a really fun project, and it seems really appropriate to be working on right now at like, it was just Easter, and I felt like all of these little color work strips were kind of like designs that could be like patterned on an Easter egg, and yeah, super cool. I'm gonna see if I can hold up just like a little bit of the textured part for you guys to see. So you can't, it's, you know, it's like a zigzag cable. This is actually the one I messed up. Maybe let's not get one that I messed up. Yeah, so it's like a zigzag. You can kind of see the texture a little bit, but I mean, it's not as obvious as it would be in like a solid color yarn. Like Annie's sample, like you can clearly see that there's this cute little like cable-y texture sections in between each color work, and I'm not sure that you're really going to be able to see that so well on mine. So it's like slightly frustrating that it is taking so long for something that you're not going to be able to see that well, but I think the effect of it is still turning out super cool, and I'm really pleased with this. Yeah, the colors, I can't wait to show you guys this one. Just the colors, these jewel tones are so fun together. I mean, she has shown pictures of this on her Instagram, so I feel like I could probably show you guys, but at the same time, I don't want to, like, you know, so this is still inside out, but you can kind of see a little bit. So there's like just different sections there. I don't want to show too much. I don't want to be disrespectful to her wishes, but yeah, so that's been taking so much time. This sweater has been like what I work on every single day. So I think that is all the projects that I have knitting wise to share with you guys today. This one is supposed to be released on April 13th. As of right now, every once in a while she pushes it back a little bit, so I'm like kind of like sort of crossing my fingers that she does that with this particular sweater, because I'm a bit concerned that I'm not gonna get it all done in time, but I might be able to get it done in time not blocked. So I think that'll be okay. I think this is one that I think will still photograph well if it's not blocked. So we will see. You guys can like cross your fingers for me. I've got a lot of knitting to do, and it has been a really hectic, busy schedule. Thank you guys, by the way, so much for everybody who has passed along well wishes for Owen. He is doing great. He had to do a little bit of physical therapy mandated by New York State in order to resume participating in his gym class at school after getting the concussion. So today he has his final session of that. He hasn't really needed it, truly. He has been 100% fine, but he has to go through all of the steps and everything, all the different stages of that. So he isn't doing as much as they initially scheduled him for, but he has his final one today, and then he should be cleared 100% to resume being a 6-year-old kid again. But we really appreciated everybody who has taken the time to send wishes to Owen and showed concern for him after he fell. So I do have some spinning, so let's move on to spinning. Okay, so I have been so much more consistent with my spinning since I started a new project. I'm really proud of myself. So what I have been spinning up is this. It's like a unicorn. I'm spinning a unicorn. This is called Over the Rainbow, and I don't know how much. I wonder if I can, let's see. Where is the end of it? Here it is. Yeah, I feel like I'm spinning a unicorn. It is the prettiest. It is so pretty. I'm just gonna see if, can you guys see there's a little bit, I think over here, if you look there, there's a little bit of blue stellina in here. And it is just, it's like a rainbow unicorn mane. It is so pretty. This is what I got in the March Paradise Fibers club. My husband gifted me the club for Christmas. So every month I get a new fiber package in the mail, and it is so fun. And what they also sent was a green sheep. So they sent this chartreuse colored wool locks. So I showed you guys this a little bit last time, but I just wanted to pull out the raw materials there. And so I finished, I am on my second time filling up my spindle right now. And I've just done this in like the last 2 days on my lunch break. I have made this much progress. So this is probably about what I showed you guys last time. And since I filled up the rest of my spindle, and it did break apart a little bit when I was taking my single off. So I got a really big portion. So I'm kind of making an art yarn, and this is something really, really different for me. I have never spun anything like this before. It did break off into two smaller little bits there too as I was taking it off the spindle. So this is what I have in singles, and I don't know. I don't want to leave it as a single because I'm not sure like how sturdy it's going to be. But I also don't know how I want to ply it together. I kind of put a bunch of green sheep in here, so I'm not sure that I want to ply it together with itself because I don't know if that's going to be too much. Maybe what I'll do is I'll take these 2 littler bits and try it and see how that works out. See if it's something that I like. That way it's just a small amount. Maybe that's what I'll do. But yeah, so I am, the other thing I thought was maybe what I'll do is spin up a bunch of the rainbow on its own without the green and ply it with that so that I'm not adding any more of the green to the final yarn. I'm just concerned it might be too much green. So I don't know. You guys tell me what you think. How would you ply this together? Would you ply it with itself and make a totally crazy yarn? It's already pretty crazy, but it's very springy. It's really cool looking. I don't have any idea what I would make with this. Right now, I am having fun. It is something completely out of what I would normally choose. Not the rainbow so much, but the green. It's very bright green. So yeah, it's a little different than like the purples that I tend to go with. So, I have no idea what this is going to end up being, but I am having a blast spinning it. And I'm really enjoying the process of trying to spin these colors in a way that they're not getting too muddy. I will undo some of this, I don't know. So when it's a little bit thicker, it looks really, really pretty. And then, I don't know how well you guys can see, but when it gets a little bit thinner, it tends to get a little bit muddier. So some of the sections, the green is a little bit more intertwined than, like this one's just kind of flopping off over there. But yeah, so, and then here is a section where it's pretty, you can see that. I think I kind of like it a little bit bulkier. I have quite a bit of this fiber. They gave us 6 ounces of the rainbow, and well, I got the rainbow. You can get, they have like, I think 8 different, oh, that piece of floof just came off, so this one wasn't in there very well. But they have 8 different colorways, and so that's the one that I got. And then they had 11 different colors of the wool locks. So you just kind of got like a random pairing. I got this right at the start of March, which I thought was perfect for the St. Patrick's Day holiday in the middle of the month and just spring in general. So I was really pleased, and I'm having so much fun. So much fun spinning this. I am really finding that taking my spinning with me and sitting outside on the deck during like the little pockets of time that I have in between students when because I teach in my basement, I'm podcasting right now in my basement. So it's been like just having a little bit of nicer weather and being able to take this outside and just enjoying the quiet of the spring and the birds and the sunshine for like maybe like 40 minutes. And I'm actually getting a good amount of spinning done that way. So I don't feel too guilty for doing this instead of cramming in 40 minutes on my test knits during that time. This is a really nice break. And I'm really glad that I'm finally like finding more moments in my day to be more consistent with my spinning. So I'm hoping that I can continue that and have spinning to show you guys very consistently from here on. Yeah, so that's all the projects that I have for you guys. I have 2 acquisitions if you guys want to stick around and see my acquisitions. So my first acquisition was one that I resisted the first time, that Susan B. Anderson had advertised. I got her newsletter for a really super cute mini Christopher Bunny kit. This was before Easter, so this was in March, and I resisted it the first time for like an hour, and then I went to go get it and it was sold out already. So I was like, oh my goodness, all right, well, that's a sign that it just wasn't meant to be. And then like 2 weeks later or a week later or something like that, she got a surprise restock of them. And so I'll have to insert a picture because you can just see the tag here for the kit. But what was really special about these kits is that she got a hold of somebody to naturally dye some yarn. And so these are the colors. I don't remember what it's all dyed with. I think that this one is Madder Root. I'm gonna have to look it up and insert what, because it doesn't say in here. But they're all naturally dyed, and her yarn is a dream to work with. This is the same yarn that my garland pullover is made from. And so, oh my God, these colors are gorgeous. But it was such a limited batch that she got the first time that she only had enough to put together like X number amount of kits. And so when they went pretty quickly, and they went, but I love naturally dyed yarn. I love her kits. And when it popped up the second time, I treated myself because I like making little bunnies. So obviously I haven't had a chance to cast these on. This probably will sit until next Easter, but I'm excited to have this. And then I treated myself to one other thing, and this is going to be a project that is a purely selfish knit for me. I mean, all of my knits are pretty selfish, and I am totally okay with that. One of the things that I have been looking at in patterns that I want to start knitting are gaps in my wardrobe. And there are some things that I have seen come out that I could wear in my teaching as like a professional wardrobe, because I don't have to be like all business or anything, but I need to look put together. And there are some designs that are a little bit more toward the professional side than the super casual side, or that are really good like crossover to both. So I have a couple of tops from J. Crew that have this like really cute little ruffle around the neck. They're like really simple tops, but they just have like this little ruffle, which is just perfect. I have a couple and I love them. And I saw this pattern come out. It is a pattern exclusive to Life in the Long Grass, I think is what it's called. LILTG. I think this dyer is based in Ireland, so I had to order the yarn from Ireland. And it is a pattern, I think it's called Ruffle Truffle Top, and I will have to insert the name of the designer. But I had my eye on this, and I've had my eye on it for over a month. It's been out for a while, and I really, really wanted to have this particular sweater in my wardrobe, and I loved the color that it was knit up in. I still have to get the pattern. When I went to the website, I clicked on the pattern and I was able to order the yarn for it as like a bundle with the appropriate amount of yarn for the size that I needed to make the pattern. But then I received it in the mail a few days ago and it didn't include the pattern. So now I'm gonna have to go and order the publication that the pattern is in. I was really hoping for like a digital download code or something to it, but that didn't happen. So I'm gonna still have to order the pattern, but the yarn is so pretty. So I have 5 skeins of this, and it's a singles, and it is in the color Cool Dawn. It is so beautiful. It is so pretty. I am so excited. So now I actually just need to get my hands on the pattern so that I can make myself this sweater, which is going to become part of my teaching wardrobe. And there's a few other patterns that I have earmarked. I don't have necessarily the yarn for them yet, but like I'm starting to look at filling in that gap in my wardrobe, because I would like to I love wearing my hand knits, and I would like to find some more patterns that I feel like are not too casual for when I do resume teaching in public, which for me doesn't look like it's going to be necessarily anytime soon. So I've been able to be pretty casual in my Zoom teaching, but the idea is that one day I will resume teaching in person, and I would like to have a few designs that I have hand knit that I feel are appropriate for doing my job. And yeah, so I love this color so much. So I have, let me see. I will insert a picture if I didn't already insert a picture of the design. I will do that here, but this is the same color that the designer used, and I just wanted to keep it the same because it was how I fell in love with it, and it's a color that I do not have in my hand knit wardrobe already. So yeah, so super excited. It's so beautiful. This one doesn't have a tag on it, so maybe you guys can see the variation in color more clearly. So beautiful. Really love it. Okay, you guys, this was a long one. Even with not being able to show you guys very much of two of my projects, it has turned into a very long episode. I have to teach in a few minutes, so I need to wrap this up and say goodbye and say thank you so much. I hope that you guys enjoyed hanging out with me for another super long episode. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. If you are not already subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe, because I might have a little something in the works for when I reach 2,000 or 2,500, whichever comes first, subscribers, and you guys are not going to want to miss that. It's going to be a good one. And yeah, that's all I can say, because I haven't picked out specific things, but I have somebody who is sponsoring my next giveaway. So subscribe if you haven't already, give me a thumbs up, and most importantly, oh, one more little tidbit. I got my first dose of the vaccine, so I am feeling really excited. I am scheduled April 23rd to get my final dose. So yeah, so that is feeling really good too. I hope that you guys have been able to get vaccinated too. It finally opened up to 30 years plus. They skipped 40 plus, which was my decade. I'm 42. So I don't know why they skipped over us, but I don't know. My husband got me an appointment. He got an appointment. So we have both received our first dose, which feels so good. I had no side effects from the first one. Not exactly looking forward to the second one, because I know that people have symptoms. So yeah, anyway, so I just wanted to share that, because that was something super exciting that happened last Friday. And with that, I'm going to say have a fantastic week, weekend, April, spring, a fantastic everything. I am in such a good mood today, and I hope that you guys enjoyed this episode, and I hope to see you guys soon. Leave me a comment so that I can say hi to you guys all specifically, individually, all that stuff. Okay, bye.